All right, so it's this morning of Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. Good morning, I'm Andy Johnson. Welcome to the program. This is AM Prime on this Wednesday morning. We could tell you what's up ahead for us to be discussing this morning. We're talking with a man named Walter Coppin. We were in touch with him yesterday. He called to say that he has decided that he would put his hat in the ring to contest the upcoming elections for the political leadership in Tobago. He says he's been getting calls and encouragement from people in the party at various levels. And he said the people in the leadership of the party have asked him to take on this task, and he's agreed to do that. So we're talking with him in the second hour of the program, contesting the elections in the Tobago House of Assembly. There's a lot of interest in that, given what has happened with the party in the last elections for the Tobago House of Assembly. The PNM was almost wiped off the slate, and this is an attempt to, there are attempts in the party to revive and to come again, to rethink and to review their positions as it relates to the representation of the people on the ground in Tobago. So Mr. Coppin has decided to take on that responsibility and to answer those calls. We talked to him in the second half of the program. Of course, we'll tell you what's happening around the region, our look around the region. We look at latest developments in Haiti and in St. Lucia. As we continue to watch that, keep you in touch with what's happening in other parts of this region that we occupy in the space that we have. Also, Kelvin Schoon, he's been writing a blog called The Contrarian Blog, a lot of times raising issues of national concern, one aspect over the other, and trying to lift the game when it comes to discussion in the country about where we are politically, socially, civically. So we're talking with him this morning about some of that, including the issue raised by the Prime Minister a couple of weeks ago that the Constitution we have doesn't suit us in the way that it should. And he talked about getting a different kind of personality, a different kind of product for people who run ministries in the public service. So we're talking with him about that and other things. Of course, the staples, we'll share with you what the numbers are with COVID-19 as we speak today. And we hope to get today's copy of the news during the course of the program, so we can tell you what's in there, what are the stories being featured in there. But right now, with us, a man who we've had on the program a couple of weeks ago, he is seeking assistance from the British High Commission in Trinidad to take the state of Trinidad and Tobago to court for what he says are the atrocious conditions of prison that prisoners have to endure in Trinidad and Tobago. Anthony Chanson. So we're getting an update from him as to his advocacy in that, where he has reached in his mission on that exercise. Anthony, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
All right. I am all right. Pleasant morning to the nation, to the people, Trinidad and Tobago, and I'd like to say pleasant morning to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and all over the world who listening to the program. My name is Tommy Chanson, and I'm here this morning to talk about something that is very important concerning the inhuman condition of the prison, and the name of my company is Power to the People on Human Rights.
All right, so you have a company, you say?
Yeah, company on human rights.
Okay. So when last we spoke, you said that I think we ended the discussion with you talking about your seeking assistance from the British High Commission to get attorneys to pay attention to this and to take the state to court. Give us an update as to what has happened since then.
Well, since that, as the pandemic come out, I didn't get the opportunity now to go back and make some arrangements to get an attorney overseas now, right, from England to work with me, right, so we could take the state to court concerning the inhuman condition of the prison.
Right.
So I write some letters to the first commissioner, right, who resigned.
You mean Mr. Griffith?
Yeah, to the first commissioner who resigned.
Well, the previous one, not necessarily the first.
Take over again, and I write a next letter to the commissioner requesting to hold a meeting with the both of them. And they failed to acknowledge my letter.
Yeah, that's Mr. Jacob?
Yeah, the two commissioners who who resigned. This is the third commissioner now, right?
Right. Okay, so you had written one to the commissioner who was there before Mr. Griffith, and then you wrote to Mr. Griffith, and now you've written to Commissioner Jacob, McDonald Jacob.
No, two commissioners who come and resign first, right?
Well, right.
This next one here, who here right now.
Right, Mr. Jacob, that's Mr. Jacob.
That's the commissioner of prison.
McDonald Jacob is the current commissioner of police.
No, the...
You're talking about the prison commissioner?
Yeah, the prison commissioner.
Okay, so that's the current prison commissioner is Dennis Poole-Chan.
Right. So, now I make some requests to see if I could see him, but they told me I had to write a letter to him, right? But what happened now, my lawyer told me to waste no time, because I speak to the trade union officer, that is Mr. Richard, who represents the prison.
Sharon Richard,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I speak to Mr. Richard. He said he has some issues, problems with the Minister of National Security, with the Minister of Health, and I was trying to hold a meeting with them, and during the pandemic, I can't really hold a meeting just like that. So they told me to write a letter to them so I could hold a meeting with them concerning the inhuman condition of the prison, right? So I decided now to get our next attorney in Trinidad and Tobago. And I spoke to my attorney. He's a civil lawyer, right? That's Mr. Murphy. He has worked with Mr. Winchurch. Two of them has worked together in the same building, right? And we have a little discussion, a little talk. And he said he's willing to represent me by carrying the state to court. So we decided to make a date appointment when we will carry the state to court, all right? That is on April this year. Right, so we will organize what we need to organize, and the attorney will do what he's supposed to do.
So
to make sure that...
How have you been able to decide on a date? You say April 30th. That's the day you're going to file the... What is it, a complaint? You're going
to... No, we going straight to the court and see if we could get whatever we could get, like a summons or whatever. The attorney would know what to do, and they would send it to the Minister of National Security, requesting him to come to court.
Yeah.
All right?
So what are some of the things you're addressing? I know when we spoke, you talked about the conditions under which prisoners exist, 8 persons to a cell, 1 mattress. You said you talked about people sleeping on the floor, and you talk about the excrement and all of that. We just had in the news a moment ago the Minister of National Security saying that people have to follow some procedures if they want to pay visits to the prisons. Have you? Well, you don't have to do that because you've been there. You have had that experience of being in prison, right? But the question of visits to the prison, a lot of people complain about that. The minister is saying, as we saw in that clip earlier on, that there is a procedure to be followed. So you think your lawyer is advising again to get permission to visit the prisons, or you have it down as to what you know to be the case, and your case will be built on what you know and what your experience has been?
Yes. No, I'm not going to go through no procedure with Mr. Hines. It's a waste of time, right? All the construction work, what Mr. Hines talking about, what they're going to start and what they're doing, because they know and hear that I'm going to take the state to court, so they're trying to protect themselves, right? To let the nation feel that they're changing the environment of the prison. Now, the prison is totally inhuman, right? Number one, corrupt.
Right. All right. What I'm saying is that so is there any one that is better than the other? Because we could skip the details about what you say obtains in the prison. But let me just ask you that. So you're saying there's Carrera, there's the Port of Spain prison, there's the Golden Grove prison, and then there's something called the MSP. And then there's this facility in Arouca that people refer to as Baghdad Building 13, where people say a lot of untoward stuff goes on there in terms of how prisons officers deal with prisoners there. That is a place apart, separate and apart from my understanding. So you're saying that in each one of them, there are issues to be addressed. That's what you're saying in terms of conditions under which prisoners live, right? Let's just put it that way.
Yes. The condition how the prisoners and them live right now, right? Especially in Kara, especially in Port Spain, especially in Remaniada in Golan Grove, right?
Yeah.
Men shitting in Gaza.
Well, right. This is what I'm saying. We don't need to go back over those details. Yeah. You said that, you know, the last time we spoke. So there's no need to repeat it. You're saying that the conditions under which prisoners exist are, I would say what you're saying there could be described as being inhumane and not appropriate for people, even if they're behind bars. And that's the case you're seeking to make when you're taking the state to court, right? Let's put it that way. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
Right. So I'm saying develop on that. So you're working with this attorney to, you mind telling us who it is, who is the attorney who has decided to take up this matter on your behalf?
Yes. My attorney is Mr. Murphy, right?
Yeah, you called his name earlier.
Lawyer. He's a civil lawyer.
Yes,
right. He worked with Mr. Wayne Church, right? They work in the same office with other attorneys. Them as the senior lawyers and them.
And as in Port of Spain?
Yes, in Port of Spain.
Yeah.
Right? So we discussed. I hired him. I told him I want him as my personal attorney for now. Right? We'll take the matter to court, and if we get victimized in Trinidad court, right, because you don't know already what's going on already, right? We get victimized, we will take the matter, appeal the case and carry the matter overseas.
You have a date in April, so we in the end of February now. You say that you're hoping to be able to file this action sometime in May.
My attorney, right, I told him I want to go to court soon as possible. But he said he will have the time for April month. So I ain't putting any pressure on him because he have plenty other people he has to keep out and, keep out the matters and so forth. And as he is a lawyer who I know he is now, and he's a very good lawyer, I decided to listen to him and hold on with him, right? But that is not the only issue in the prison, right? It's have the issue too concerning prisoners. They're over, let me say, when they go in prison for a robbery or they go in for murder, they're just there, right? And they're not getting an early date, like a high court matter, to attend for the case then, right? Because plenty of them who get charged for murder right now, just in prison there. And the state now just wasting time and having people just wasting time in prison. And 10 years pass, 15 years pass, right? And up to now, someone cannot get a date to go to the High Court to start the murder case.
All right. Well, did you see, have you been following that development in the last couple of days, in the last week or so, that there was this matter in which the appeal court decided that it ought not to be automatic, that because you are charged with a murder, that you can't get bail. So that may be an opening, or in fact it is an opening for a lot of people, because what they're saying, what the decision has been made, it rests on the circumstances of the charge. So given the particulars in the charge, somebody who is on a murder charge can go and appeal for bail given the particulars in the case, so that it is not going to be automatic. Well, of course, it will go to the Privy Council because it has to go there. The state will appeal just to make sure that the decision in the appeal court can hold that, so there will come a point, presumably, that not everybody who is charged with murder would be held at the state's pleasure, so that people would be able to get bail in some cases, depending on the facts in the matter. You saw that in the papers in the last couple of days, right? And people are continuing to talk about it as we speak.
Yes, yes, I saw it. And what I would like to talk about now, what the nation to know too also, right, is concerning the officers and them claiming, Mr. Richard, everybody now complaining about their back pay, right? All public servants, workers, complaining, looking into the back pay, have trade unions trying to negotiate. I negotiate with trade unions, I talk to trade unions, and trade unions leaders told me that they're trying to negotiate with the government for the people to get the 2013 back pay, right? And they're waiting on the government now, and the government claiming that they don't have no money, right? But they're claiming that they're willing to pay whatever little they could pay to the public servant workers to give them what they entitled for, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, it's unfair to hard public servant workers to know that all these billions of dollars, right, what come out for the budget, and they divide and share, and the money what they give to the friends and the contractors, workers, right, who they're owing and so forth, right? From since 2013 to now, these government workers, like the police and the prisons and other government workers, public servants workers, who work so hard for the nation, for the public, right? Why they cannot get a back pay? So that is where I come in now to make sure that the trade unions and them do what they should supposed to do.
Which is what?
Many trade unions and them who now doing what they're supposed to do. Plenty of them now, right? Remember now they have some proper arrangements with the government. They make some deals with the government. The government has made sure and do what they're supposed to do to make sure what deal they make with the government. And the government has handled them. So sometimes now they're fooling nations, the people in them, and let the people in them believe that they're representing them, they're looking out for their rights and they're standing up for their rights. But the plenty of them trade union is playing games with the public servants workers.
Some of them.
Right? That is why the public servant workers and them cannot get a back pay from since 2015.
So you think the trade unions themselves not conscientious in addressing the needs of the workers that they represent? That's what you're saying. They're not they're not serious enough.
I decide, here what happened, I will pick it up underneath human rights, because plenty of them trade unions, plenty of them getting money on the hand, right?
Well,
and since they're getting money on the hand from the government, they cannot go against the government, because the government come like the mafia.
Well, that's a tricky thing to say. You know, how are you gonna prove that? And it's difficult to accuse trade union leaders of playing games and taking money in their hand.
I know.
Well, you may know that, or you may think you know that, but it's difficult to say that in a public space like this, because I mean, a public space like this, and that's your feeling, and you can't call people's names, and you can't call you can't even name a trade union who you figure that is happening with, because that is dangerous territory. But you're saying you're going to take it up, and you're going to address it on behalf of the workers themselves, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because what I'm saying, sir, right? Plenty of the workers complain, and they know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And they complain for the back pay.
Right.
Right? No more
and you're accusing the trade unions of not doing what they're required to do to get the employers, which is in this case you're talking about the government, right?
Yes.
To pay the workers their back pay, and you believe that the trade unions should do more, but you are saying that the trade unions are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because you're saying that the trade unions
They're getting bribed.
Well,
right.
all right.
And getting bribed and getting
the
handled.
but you say it's not the unions who are getting it. If that's the case, you're saying that there are trade union leaders, because the money doesn't go to an agency like that unless it goes to the leaders. But that is dangerous territory to go on. But I'm trying to hear what you're saying and to give you a sense of the manner in which you address it, but it's tricky territory to go on. So that is another issue that you're going to pursue with trade unions and trade union leaders, all right? Yeah, but we have to leave it there now. But so thanks for talking with us on that issue about where you reach with the question of taking the state to court for the conditions of prisons in Trinidad and Tobago. We will continue what so you're saying the matter will be filed sometime in April, right?
Yeah, the lawyer has to make sure and get a proper date for me to attend in court. But I would like to leave a contact number with the mission too, right? Because at this
what is it? What is it?
Once the government is playing games with
what is it? What is the number? What is the number you want to leave?
My contact number, right? That is my WhatsApp number.
Right.
317-7156. I repeat.
317-7158. And you want to encourage people, those who have an interest in what you're doing, to call you and you all can talk.
Yes, and talk to me because a lot of people have issues and problems.
All right, Mr. Chanson, thank you very much. We have to leave it there. We will keep in touch. All right, so we take a break. We do the numbers. We take you around the region if we can before we get back. So stay with us.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best.
I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Burning questions, urgent topics. Welcome back to One on One, the show where we tackle the most current and pertinent subjects that are affecting all citizens, where we ask the hard questions and have in-depth conversations. What separates One on One from other talk shows is that the conversation stems from a younger perspective on topics that affect the fabric of our society. One on One, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on WESN Content Capital.
Let your voice be heard. Call Madam Fix-It on WESN, the only place that effectively helps you with your woes. Having problems getting onto government agencies, water woes, NIS and pension problems, potholes, and much, much more. Call me, Madam Fix-It, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on WESN. Let me fix it for you.
It may seem like the hardest thing to do right now, but we all need each other to wear a mask, wash our hands, watch our physical distance, and stay at home. We need you safe. Together we can make the difference. Together we can curb the spread of COVID-19. So let's be responsible in our actions. The Trinidad and Tobago Red Cross Society. Mission-based, people-focused, community-driven.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
All right, welcome back to the program. Up ahead in our discussions, we're talking with Kelvin C. Schoon, a retired advertising marketing executive and an entrepreneur. He's been writing in his retirement a blog that he calls the Contrarian Blog, in which he deals with issues of civic consciousness in Trinidad and Tobago. He's been talking about the need for more of us to take personal responsibility for the lives we live and for our contributions to the society. We will get to him in a bit, but we want to look at the numbers this morning having to do with COVID-19 in our midst. The new positive cases, the total recovered patients, the total active cases, the number of persons in hospital. So let's get to that. So that's what's the picture before us this morning. The new positive cases in the last 24 was 412. The deaths reported yesterday, the total active positive cases, 20,830. The number of patients in hospital, 332. The total deaths in the country since we began the counting on March 12, 2020, 3,582. That's what the numbers look like, 333 persons in hospital. And that number has been coming down, and that is a sign of, well, it certainly causes people to breathe some sighs of relief, because the lower the numbers get, the less stress is there on the system, the less stress is there on the people taking care of those of us who fall prey to the virus across the country. So that's the picture as it stands at the moment. All right. So let's come to Mr. Schoon now. Personal responsibility, he says it's up to me. He's been, that's a slogan he's been using to call us to greater attention as to how we live our lives in Trinidad and Tobago. Papa Chunks, good morning.
Good morning. I told somebody yesterday you're the only one who knew that. That nickname.
Yes. Well, good to see you. Well, before we begin to talk, give us a sense of, we're looking at this photographic display behind you there. Talk with us a little bit about that.
Before I do that, let me just say good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, to WESN, and to anyone who's listening. That is a composite picture of my family. I have a rather large family.
Okay.
And a few years ago on my birthday, they took pictures together, put them together, and it hangs in my room because that's what I've lived for.
Yeah. All right. And does that include the gentleman who is now in a little bit of hot waters with the authorities about this party and the river?
No, he is not part of my personal family. He's a Schoon.
Yes.
But a Schoon, by his mother having married a Schoon.
Yes.
The Schoon clan out of Grenada is a very large clan.
Yes.
So this is just my set.
Okay. Your strain, that's different from his. All right, so let's get to this discussion about what you call, in this case, the ills of an almost dysfunctional society. Let's have a discussion on why you say that and what are the defining elements of that.
It's almost, but not dysfunctional, because we still get up every day and go about our work. But throughout the society, there's a sense that everybody has, and people say it all the time, Trinidad in a mess. They complain about traffic, they complain about every single thing that you can think of. Governments get the biggest part of the blame, which I think is not necessarily right. They're people just like us. So there's a feeling in the society that we are not getting anywhere, that we are doing nothing right. I don't think so. But I think that at the core of this is that too many of us do not accept responsibility for our roles, no matter how big or how small.
Yeah, and I saw Dr. Dr. Terence Farrell talking about, or somebody referring to his positions on this question of us assuming a greater level of responsibility for our actions and for our citizenship.
Yes, he has, but I think while his diagnosis is correct, his solution is not right. Because both he and Lloyd Best, to a certain extent, have blamed the ills of the society on leadership.
Yeah.
I have taken the position that our leaders don't drop from Mars. You know, they're born here, they grow here, they go to church here or the mosque, they play Mass. We educate them, most of them free, and they are part of us. So if they are failing, it is because we are failing. So that while blame has to be put on the lack of leadership, we have to understand that that leadership is me, Kelvin Schoon. It's how I lead my family. It's how I lead myself, what I think, what I do. I am part of the failure.
Yeah, and that's why you say it's a question of taking personal responsibility. And how do we do that?
We do this in many ways. I don't have the answer. But I think we start by first accepting, look, I am responsible. And if you accept responsibility, then you find ways and means to act responsibly. Rather than just complaining on everybody else except yourself, you will find ways of doing something that you can. I talk to my friends about an old man who sells nuts in a village. Every time he comes out, he walks with a shovel, puts up his table, puts his nuts, but before he opens his business, there's a drain on the street running in front of him, and he has a broom and a shovel, and he sweeps maybe about 200 yards or more of that drain, of all the rubbish that all the people have thrown in it. In other words, he is operating in a clean surroundings. He is not waiting for the garbage people to collect the garbage. He's not complaining that the central government or the local government don't pick up the garbage every morning. He cleans that and he puts the garbage in a place where it can be picked up. That to me is the simplest, rudimentary example of a person taking personal responsibility. There is a saying that says, if everybody cleans their section of the road, we will all live in a clean society. On the other hand, in that same village, when I used to be able to walk every morning, on a weekend you will find piles of garbage. Now we know that the garbage truck is not coming on Saturday and Sunday, but we put the garbage out there just the same, and the dogs have a field day. And they do this continuously. So can the local council be held responsible for you putting your garbage out? No. You have to be part of the system. So that's the depth to which I would carry the discussion to the core. If every policeman, if every teacher, if every mason, if every carpenter sets out every day to do the best that he can do, we would be living in paradise.
Are there examples of societies that we could draw experience from? That does it have to be comparable with ours? You know, democracies are democracies. You have autocracies, you have dictatorships, you have repressive regimes, and people operate in those under different sets of circumstances. What are comparable? You know, I've read some stuff already. There's a book called Development is a State, Underdevelopment is a State of Mind, and the author sort of compared Trinidad and Tobago with Barbados, for instance, and saying that, you know, we are similar societies in terms of not necessarily our ethnic makeup, but our level of development, physically and otherwise. But the suggestion was that in many more respects, Barbados is a more developed society than Trinidad and Tobago, with more resources, so to speak.
I don't know about being more developed, but I know they are, having visited Barbados many times. I worked for an advertising agency that's headquartered in Barbados for many years. I know that they are a more responsible society. I always tell people that if you have a function in Trinidad and you put a police barrier, when the crowd gets big, the barrier is removed, not by the police, by the crowd. If you do the same thing in Barbados, you could have a fete in the savannah and just put up barriers, and nobody will move the barrier to come in. So they are, in many respects, a more responsible society.
Yeah. Where do you think that
they haven't been there for a long while, so I don't know if they're turning.
Yeah. Well, where do you think that ethos comes from, and that is missing among us?
I don't know. One of my hopes is that our bright minds at our universities, those social scientists, would study this aspect of our lives to find out where and how we could make the change. I have seen it in the US, where some of my family live. We were talking about the garbage. I have seen that they have specific rules about putting out the garbage, which they follow. They have specific rules about throwing garbage on the streets. Now, sometimes it's punitive. Maybe the punitive society is needed. Maybe a bit of authoritarianism is needed. Carrot and stick approach. So we need to look at ourselves very carefully, and our bright minds at the university could help. If it is a problem, we educate them to help us solve our problems.
You know, in the early 1970s, I had just come to town, so to speak, and just getting into this media racket. And it was a period of the No Vote campaign, so the PNM had won all 36 seats in the elections, and the parliament was sort of working along with that. But there was a Senate, and one of the senators, Senator Skip Julian, I think he was an independent senator, and he made a statement in the parliament at that point. He said, at that time, he said that he thought what we needed in Trinidad and Tobago was a benevolent dictator. Never forget it.
Yes.
And some people,
No dictator is ever benevolent. That is for sure. At my age, I've seen and read about many dictators. Not one has been benevolent. So let's get the dictatorship out of the way.
Yeah. All right.
We need some sort of democratic society where people have a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense of wanting to improve.
I say it starts with us. That's your central theme. It starts with us.
Yes.
What are some of the things that we're not doing that we ought to be doing when it comes to taking personal responsibility for our lives and for the state of the country?
There are many things, but too many to mention, to even think about.
Are there starting points for some of us?
Starting point is yourself, always. We have to ask ourselves, am I doing the right thing? Right? Am I speeding? I think among the stuff I sent you, something that Ken Natal did for me, which is a little commercial about slow driving. It's up to me to slow down. It's not up to the other driver or the coconut tree that walks into the road so that I hit it. It's up to me to slow down so that when I reach the corner, I'll be able to take it safely. It's not up to anybody else.
Or the driver in the left lane, except you're overtaking, and not to drive such that you're cutting in and out of traffic because you're late for where you're going, or you just can't drive at the required speed limit.
Yeah, that's it. It starts there. One of the things I was hoping to come out of this movement, I call it a movement, not a campaign. Campaigns have a tendency to be political.
Yes.
Is that we will start right now in the schools.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the things I have on my list of things, I have a long list of how it could be applied, is that it becomes part of the civics program. I understand that civics does not play a very important part in education anymore, but it's a most important part because civics help to train the younger generation to live in a community, to be responsible for the community. So I have a copybook cover where each child will be asked, there's a space on the copybook cover which says, it's up to me to. And each child will fill in on the copybook cover to do what? It could be to do his own home lesson, to come to school on time, to do what? To obey my teachers, anything that that child thinks is responsible for. I think we could have competitions in the school where they write essays on it. And I think immediately we have to control social media. Social media has become not a means of broadening our communication, but of complaining.
How do we control it?
How do we control it? By being responsible. It boils down to that, being responsible.
So
I want to see priests giving their weekend homily and the imams talking to their constituents about being responsible. That's what I want to see. If we adopt that attitude, we will find the ways to do it. So it's up to me to be the best father I can be. If every father in this country starts the day looking in the mirror and saying to himself in the mirror, today I am going to be the best father I can be. You think he can beat his wife?
And it doesn't.
I don't know.
It doesn't only mean sort of what people refer to as bringing home the bacon, working hard, working your butt off, and bringing home the bacon.
No, that's only part of being a father.
Yeah.
If daddy is not making a lot of money, daddy and mommy get together and decide how they will share this little bit. right?
Yeah.
Daddy can't go off and spend half of his money in the rum shop, right? Daddy will know that, hey, I like a drink, you know, I could take one, but I can't go and buy a bottle for the boys. Because Tommy has to go to school on Monday and he needs books. It is at that level that you begin to change a society. A study was done in New York a few years ago about trafficking.
Yes. I think we lost you there a bit. The technology is frozen up on us. Yeah. All right, I think we had some technical issues there. I think the transmission is frozen up on us, but it's a discussion we'll have to continue. Kevin C. Schoon, it's up to me, personal responsibility, the ills of an almost dysfunctional society. All right. So let's go to the Newsday poll, and the question is, what do you think about the OWTU's suggestion that electricity rates be increased so TNTech could afford to pay workers an increased salary? And one response is, these foolish unions are leading their members to the unemployment line. How stupid can one be? TNTech workers are already well paid, eat small and live long, or end up like Petrotrin. Another response, I would prefer to buy a generator rather than see that happen. Third response, supermarkets raise their prices with the introduction of no VAT on food items. They are ridiculous and wicked, and then the population will blame the government for high food prices. And the final response, this is just to show how inconsiderate these so-called unions are, always thinking of ways to fill their pockets. Unions' lives matter. The rest of the citizens can continue raking and scraping what is left. All right. So let's begin our look around. Let's look at our look around the region now, and we go to Haiti with the latest developments there 6 months after the powerful earthquake struck there, the last one. Take a look.
Well, 6 months after this devastating earthquake that struck southwest part of Haiti, the need of thousands of affected children and families are still urgent and immense. For education only, more than 1,000 schools are yet to be rehabilitated or rebuilt so that children can find an adequate learning environment. And it's close to 2 billion that is asked by the government to the international community to contribute to the reconstruction effort and rehabilitation also. So we really think that it will be very critical for Haiti in the current condition to benefit from much more support for the southern department which were hit by the earthquake.
All right, so we take a break for the news at 7 o'clock. When we come back, we talk with Mr. Walter Coppin. He's put his hat in the ring for the leadership of the PNM in Tobago. Stay with us. This is AM Prime on this Wednesday morning.
Seven is out, all day is in. WESN News on the hour.
Every day, we communicate through stories. Stories of ourselves, our challenges, our goals, our experiences, and our aspirations. Storytelling is an art that we have mastered. WESN Film Studios comprises a collaborative team of experts with extensive industry experience locally, regionally, and internationally. The ability of your business to successfully communicate with your preferred audience depends on the strength of the stories you tell. Your vision should be communicated in a high-quality, professional, and creative way. From concept to post-production, advertising to film, multi-camera productions, live events, streaming, and virtual conferencing, we are WESN Film Studio. Let your own unique voice be heard and your vision realized. Call us today at 628-5835 for your next production.
In this season, we talk more about health, wellness, and everything in between. I am so excited to share with you everything about health and wellness so that you can design the life that you've always dreamed of. Join me here on What's Up Doc.
What's Up Doc? Tuesdays and Thursdays here on WESN, Content Capital.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you, what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through? Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time.
Let your voice be heard. Call Madam Fix-It on WESN, the only place that effectively helps you with your woes. Having problems getting onto government agencies, water woes, NIS and pension problems, potholes, and much, much more. Call me, Madam Fix-It, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on WESN. Let me fix it for you.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m. only on WESN, Content Capital.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best.
I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect
a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
If you live with someone who's tested positive for COVID-19 and has to self-isolate at home, take care of them from a distance and reduce their movement around the house. Give them space, a designated space, and open those windows. If you have to be in contact, mask up, both of you. If you work, stay home from work and don't go out, not even to the grocery or pharmacy. And remember, no visitors allowed. Limit the contact to limit the spread.
The Trinidad and Tobago Red Cross Society. Mission-based, people-focused, community-driven.
All right, so welcome back to the program. We're trying to make contact with Mr. Walter Coppin in Tobago. He says he's put his hat in the ring based on advice he's got and approaches to him by people in Tobago for the leadership of the Tobago People's National Movement. As we try and get to him, taking some other looks at the situation around the region, take a look at what's happening in St. Lucia. The Prime Minister talking about apologies to the public for the low profile of the 2022 independence observations due to the pandemic. Take a look.
I wish you and your families and the people of St. Lucia a happy independence. It's our 43rd anniversary.
Are you feeling the independence spirit? The Independence Committee 2022 was tasked with putting together a stimulating package to celebrate the 43rd independence anniversary under the spectre, once again, of COVID-19. However, some critics have questioned the level of planning put into the grand observance. However, for Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, it's all about leading by example.
This year it's low-keyed, basically because of the COVID situation. We need to lead by example, and so we have disallowed any mass crowd events. But the spirit is there. People are very excited. You know, this by the flags and the vehicles. People are excited.
This is the second year during the pandemic that the island has had to celebrate in a low-key fashion. Barring a continuation of the ongoing pandemic come next year, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre promises a much grander observance.
I want to tell the people of St. Lucia that next year, if COVID allows, we shall have massive celebrations. I want to apologize to them for the low-key nature of the events this year, particularly the mass events. But we have to make a sacrifice for the present and for the future.
The Prime Minister warns against jeopardizing the gains earned in the fight against the spread of the virus. He cautions the public against throwing caution to the wind.
We need to protect the little gains you have made as far as COVID is concerned. COVID is far from over, and we are hoping that next year we're going to have proper celebrations.
St. Lucia continues to learn to live with COVID-19. And for the independence celebration, this meant a heightened virtual presence with small-scale events leading up to the Independence Day holiday. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
All right, so more stuff from what is happening around the region. We take a look at what's happening in Barbados. Several structural flaws that needed to be remedied in some construction going on there. Let's take a look.
Urgent reform is coming to the Barbados Licensing Authority. That's according to Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport, Works and Water Resources, Cynthia Bradshaw, who admitted that the government institution had several structural flaws that needed to be remedied. She made the comments while pointing out that the licensing authority was still battling with a backlog of over 5,000 driver's licenses.
It also requires, Mr. Speaker, I think a deeper look at the structure of the licensing authority There are a number of positions that have not been filled that have also impacted on the ability of the staff to be able to properly execute. We have a lot of good staff, but we also have some challenges in terms of structurally trying to get these things done. And so in the interim, we may have to now outsource certain services to be able to have the driver's licenses scanned and be able to have a system of distributing them to the general public as well. Now, the good news is that there is already in motion plans for the modernization of the licensing authority. We started, I believe it was in 2020, with a process for ensuring that persons could pay for the renewal of their license online.
With regards to the backlog, the Deputy Prime Minister said efforts were continuing to deliver those drivers' licenses that had already been paid. She said the licensing authority's partnership with the General Post Office in delivering those licenses had not gone as smoothly as planned.
But regrettably, we still have a number of licenses that are still in the possession of the licensing authority. We, despite having utilized the services of the General Post Office to assist us in delivering licenses to actual homes so that we could deliver directly to persons for people who paid online, we ran into a situation where in some cases we had incorrect addresses or the persons were not able to find the individuals at the time. And so we still do have a number of those licenses which would have been in the possession of the General Post Office, which are still to be delivered. So of about the 15,769 driving licenses sent to the General Post Office, we have to date been able to deliver 9,640, leaving a total of 5,221 still to be delivered. Of that number, we have about 908 that were returned to the Barbados Licensing Authority because those persons could not be found at the address, or in some cases they had given, as I said before, the incorrect address.
All right, so let's take a break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers?
Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best.
I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in-depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the Content Capital.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Is it politics? What is it that nobody cares about sports?
The kind of support that sport used to get in the past is no longer here.
The thing is, taking a knee doesn't mean that that's the only thing you're doing now, Andy.
Right.
Taking a knee along with other stuff.
Samantha, what are you looking forward to when you return home to Trinidad and Tobago after winning the title?
Thank you very much for speaking it into existence.
Is there no pressure on Nicholas Ball?
It makes me more motivated to work hard and to go out there and rep the red, white and black.
Why are we sending a team to the Winter Olympics?
There are a number of
of Trinbagonians who are in the diaspora and have grown up in winter sport. It's an opportunity that the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee will not close the door on.
I also believe in the players that we have. Once you can motivate the players, you can get the best out of them.
All right, welcome back. Well, we have Mr. Walter Coppin on the line with us now from somewhere in Tobago. He says that he has decided to take a shot at going for the leadership of the People's National Movement in Tobago. That comes out of the discussions taking place in the party, and in fact in the island, over what took place in the last election there for the Tobago House of Assembly. The party was almost wiped out, getting 1 seat out of 15 in that election, reversing from their control of the assembly for 20 years, 21 years. And the view is that there has to be some new blood in there. He's accepted a call from people, he says, who's been trying to get him to take this jump. So he's in the race for the political leader of the Tobago PNM. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning to you, Brother Johnson.
All right, how are you?
Well, I'm fine. I'm in Tobago, and Tobago is just simply wonderful. It seems like there is a new paradigm, a new breath of life in Tobago, and I'm here to participate in it.
Right, and in doing that, you going on the other side. You're trying to reverse the trajectory, because you say you decided to run in the elections to become the next leader of the PNM in Tobago.
Yeah, but it's not really the other side, you know. What I am doing, I have gotten a call from the hierarchy of the party, and I am accepting, because I know that, for one, the new political party is young. It would need assistance. It's a new kind of politics, and I'm here to assist. You would realize that the leader of the PDP said, that's Fali Augustine, said that it's the first time that the THA is getting this kind of response from the government, which is very favorable as far as the fiscal arrangements is concerned. So it seems that we are getting in Tobago a new kind of politics, and I guess I am part of that new politics. Here we are, the old PNM wasn't able to get these releases on time, and now the PDP is saying it's a wonderful day with the new PNM. So I guess we are seeing something brand new.
Well, which new PNM? The PNM in Tobago or the PNM in Trinidad? Because if you're saying that this is the first time the THA is getting this kind of support from a government in Trinidad, you had a government in Trinidad for the better part of that 20 years that the PNM was in charge in Tobago. That was PNM in Trinidad. So you're saying that the PNM in Trinidad is treating the PDP better than it treated the PNM in Tobago? That's what people are telling you?
I'm saying that the PDP is saying that unlike the last 4 years when the releases that were supposed to be given to the THA according to the Act on a quarterly basis, they were getting it irregularly. He spoke to the Minister of Finance, and he is getting a better response from the government than the past administration was getting.
Well, this is what I'm asking. The past administration was a PNM administration for 21 years. And for most of that 20 to 21 years, the government in Trinidad and Tobago was PNM. You know, so that's what you're saying. So the PNM in Trinidad is treating the opposition in Tobago in terms of political parties. So the PDP is the opposition to the PNM in Trinidad. They're treating the PDP better than they treated the PNM in Tobago for most of that time. And I'm trying to get a response on that. That's what Mr. Augustine is saying?
What I'm saying is that he said that Colm Imbert, they have such great relations. It seems as though there's a new way forward in Tobago. And I guess it's because people like me, the government realizes that if we have to go forward, we have to have a new approach, and adversarial politics may not well be the way forward. And that is what I am introducing. I intend to deal with the situation from a more benevolent approach.
So, well, what's the point of having in two parties in Tobago then? If things are hunky-dory as they are, and if we want to take a new approach to the politics, what's the point of going up against the party that is now in charge in Tobago?
We're not going up against, this is an internal party election where the parties, it is a democratic state. The party is organizing itself to be able to assist in the political process in the unitary state.
To assist in the political process?
Yeah.
Explain, what do you mean by that?
Well, they must have parties, right? And there's a PNM, and now there's the PDP, and I guess there's some other parties on the outside.
There are. There's the Innovative Democratic Alliance, and there are others. Yeah. And
the PNM is due to have an internal election. They called me. They asked me, because of my experience in the public service and my academic training. I have a Bachelor of Science in Government and Politics and a Master's degree in International Relations, and I have international experience just having come out of Washington, D.C., where I also worked. I worked as the advisor to the Chief Secretary over London also. So I have a wealth of experience, so I guess they're saying, yes, we need to reorganize this party, and would you help us to reorganize the party for the benefit of the people of Tobago and the nation as a whole?
All right, but you're not just helping to reorganize, you're running from in the front, right? So you want to be the next political leader of the PNM in Tobago.
Well, I'm grateful to the hierarchy of the party who has asked me to run for the office of political leader, and I see, they think that I am the best fitted person to do that job.
And when you talk
experience that I have.
All right. When you say the hierarchy of the party in Tobago, the hierarchy of the party in Trinidad, or a combination of the two?
Well, as you know, when you talk about the coupling name, my son was a government senator quite recently. He's an attorney at law. So therefore, we have been functioning in the PNM at the highest level. So that when we talk about the hierarchy, you will see where we fit into the matrix. I just told you of my also experience in the Tobago bureaucracy.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you, you said that you have been approached by the hierarchy of the party, and I'm trying to get a sense of the hierarchy, the Tobago hierarchy or the national hierarchy, the party in Trinidad, the General Council, the people in there in Trinidad or in Tobago, or a combination of both? I mean, who are some of the people who have approached you?
Well, for the purpose of this discussion, it's early days yet. It's not nomination day yet, and I know that I'm doing an interview, and I even asked people to name drop and all that kind of stuff. So let's just put it in the context of Tobago.
And that means you've been approached by people in Tobago. So that means Mr. Callender and others?
Yeah. I have spoken to the hierarchy of the party in Tobago. I'm not trying to be difficult or anything. I'm just telling you. Maybe, you know. And I'm pleased. We are the party, I believe, they have one seat in Tobago. They have the minority office in the legislature. I used to be the clerk of the legislature, so I fully understand our responsibility in the legislature. And therefore, it's an excellent time to start rebuilding, sir, Brother Johnson.
Yes, and in doing that, you have to be open and transparent. You can't, you're coming on the scene in a different kind of way now, and you have to be, you can't choose your shots. You have to appear to be transparent. You have to appear to be open and talk about it from, so people could understand. You're saying some things, but then you don't want to say some things, and you presenting yourself.
No. Please let us be quite fair. Here I am on your program this morning, and I am trying to put out my information. I think we are going quite well. It's not a matter of avoidance. The party in Tobago, they're having an election. They asked me, certain people would approach, I guess they approach other people also, right? Would you help us? Would you run for this office? I said, okay. And here I am trying to get the people of Tobago to understand that Walter Coppin is here. I am not being adversarial. I am not against the opposition party. I understand politics. I want to introduce a new level of politics. I guess most of the people, not only in the PNM, but in the PDP, know me, and we are on very good terms. And therefore, I think what we are doing here this morning is kind of is groundbreaking.
Well, we are happy that is correct to say that this is this is the first outing you're having since having made that decision to answer that call, to put yourself out there and sort of build your profile going towards this new venture, right?
And one thing I can say about you, Brother Johnson, is that not only should you consider yourself very fortunate in this situation, but I consider you a great journalist, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be on your platform at this point of the campaign.
All right. Thank you very much. So, how are you going about sort of amassing the support that is required? You sense that it will be a challenge because there are other people who are eyeing that position, and it's going to be an interesting sort of.
Quite frankly, I don't expect it to be a challenge because the names I'm hearing, I don't think they even want to run, but maybe they're just victims of habit, and they kind of been wrong, and therefore they say, okay, let's throw a hat in the ring. It's quite unlike me who kind of have a massive groundswell support right now, and I'm not saying that to be unfair to anybody else, but that's the situation.
Yeah, and so it's not to provide an alternative for the people of Tobago. From what you're saying there, you want to get in there and reorganize the Tobago PNM so that it can work even more closely with the PDP for the better advancement of Tobago in the unitary state arrangement with Trinidad?
Well, for one, it would always be the interest of the party, because the party would have its policies, its constitution, and so you don't want to go ultra-virus to that. So let's get that clear.
All right.
What we are saying is that adversarial politics in a place like Tobago with 50,000 people, with a need to develop with the way the Caribbean is now, with the way CARICOM is structured, with a global pandemic, with our health crisis, we need to have an analytical approach.
All right, so you're going to be a new day. You're trying to get in there to help herald in that new day in the politics of Tobago, if not Trinidad and Tobago, right?
Of course, to be quite clear.
All right. All right, we're going to have to leave it there. I imagine we'll be talking again as the things heat up. But thank you very much, and thanks for
I thank you also very much.
All right, Walter Coppin in the race there to be the next leader of the PNM in Tobago. Well, that's our broadcast for this morning. We want to thank you for watching. We want to thank our guests, and we tell you always you can get in touch with us here at WESNCC on all our social media platforms, and you could send your emails to amprime@wesncc.com. News at the top of the hour, followed by today's edition of Talking Point with Messrs. Shah and Small. For now, I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for watching, and we see you tomorrow.